Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maria and today we're gonna talk about something that in my opinion is very important nowadays. Why so many art students struggle with basic drawing skills. In my opinion, it's not so much their fault. There was an actual historic break that happened in art education and most students have no idea this even occurred. I was once an art college student. I came there with zero skills. And what I expected was they would explain me basic concepts, they would teach me how to actually draw. What I got instead of it was they put us into a room with a model, it was a human model, and they said, draw. I didn't know how to draw a cube, and it was a real human being in front of me. I was shocked, and my first drawing from life was horrible. We were jumping straight into expressive work, conceptual pieces, digital art, and while it's nothing wrong with it, there was a missing foundation that caused real problems later. A lot of people graduate and they don't know how to draw a simple object convincingly from life. They struggle with proportions, they can't handle lighting, and they don't understand basic form construction. But they have got plenty of theory, and maybe they can even write long artist statements. Here's what's happening. The art foundations are not completely skipped, but they're honestly barely taught. At least I had that in my experience. No demos were done by teachers at all, so I still don't know if my teachers actually knew how to draw. And finally we got actually to spheres and cubes, but they were overwhelming. It was a lot of cubes and spheres in a huge still life in front of us. And they barely talked about perspective. So I had to study this myself. And then, honestly, the question was, why am I paying so much if I have to study things from other people, other teachers, YouTube, if I can do this actually for free? So the reason why I started my classical art foundation class is to help with that, to help students and people who really want a classical training, who are really ready to build their skills, who don't want to learn abstract paintings, who actually want to know how to draw a human like old masters. There was an actual break from traditional academic training over several decades. It peaked in 1960s and it's still kind of going. People like some sort of interior paintings, abstract paintings. People don't really enjoy portraits or still lifes anymore. It's nothing wrong with it, but artists start forgetting foundations. If you don't train your skill, it fades away. So before this break, art schools followed the academic model for centuries. You start with a sphere, you get to a portrait. Students would spend years on these basic forms. Spheres, as I said, cubes, cylinders, other simple stuff. They would learn proper construction methods and they would draw from plaster casts before they would look even at a live model. Right now, I don't know about other countries, but in America, plaster casts, they just don't exist. You can't buy them. They don't teach this at schools. Starting in the early 20th century, modernist thinkers began pushing for creativity over technique. People were a little bit, of course, tired of realism and fashion changes, and people started pushing the boundaries into something that would be something new. So, for example, the Bauhaus school completely abandoned live drawing classes and careful drawing of like figures. They replaced the systematic training with experimentation and self-expression. Art education moved into universities in 1960s. Before, to call yourself an artist, you didn't really need to have a diploma. After that, it would be better if you actually had some sort of bachelor's degree in arts or even master's degree to be treated seriously. By the 1980s, art programs needed to justify themselves academically, and that means that theory became more important than actual skill building. Fast results mentality doesn't really help. These quick TikTok kind of versions of use this tip and you will be drawing like Leonardo forever, for example, or quick technique and you will be an amazing artist. The thing is that you won't. The thing is that you really need skills. You really need basics. And the thing is that to get them, you need to be patient. The modernist ideology saw traditional technique as limiting creativity. Rules and systematic training were considered outdated or even harmful to artistic expression. I have heard this myself, that if you start learning basics at some sort of academic kind of school that really actually teach these basics, they will ruin your creativity forever and you are doomed to paint still lifes for the rest of your life. It's not true, really. So for students who actually kind of graduate from such schools, and it's like most of them, I have seen horrible drawings from people with bachelor's degrees. They don't know even proportions of human face. So these students actually hit skill plateaus early and they cannot break through unless they really work on their skills. Really work after they graduate, really start pushing that. Other thing is that people heavily rely on photos, and just because they cannot draw from observation. Photos are great, really great. It's wonderful tool, and a lot of artists use photos or some sort of camera obscuras in their career, but they also knew how to draw from observation. They also had very strong foundations. For example, for abstract work, classical color theory is very important because in abstract, that's all you have. You have colors, and that's it, mostly. You need to understand it, and this is basics. Maybe this old academic system wasn't like perfect, but it gave students real skills. And several years of systematic progression from simple forms to complex subjects, and the ability to draw anything convincingly from observation or from imagination. The good news is that, of course, we can fill these gaps, and we just need to start drawing, start learning how to draw a simple cube. We don't need to go back in time or attend an expensive atelier. Start with basic forms. Really master the sphere. Look how light wraps around it. Master the cube, cylinder. Not just one quick study, but weeks of work until you really understand how light wraps around them. Start with a quick and rough sketch first, then measure. Build your observational skills through that. So if you want to fill these gaps in your foundation, or if you want to start from the very beginning as a beginner, I have a classical art foundation course on Patreon. I am developing it right now. Module 1 is in the middle. And it'll give you systematic training that most of modern art schools abandon. Step-by-step progressions from basic forms to complex subjects. Right now we are drawing still lifes. I'm gonna give you feedback, it depends on the tier level. You will develop solid skills that support any artistic direction you want to pursue. A link is in the description below. So that break from tradition created a gap in art education, but you don't have to live with that gap forever. Build the foundation you need. Go draw. See you next time. Thanks for watching.